Everyone, Cliff here in the shed. For my next trick I'm going to make a coolant pump and feed for the bandsaw. I've unbolted the bandsaw, but I need my daughter's help to lift it off because I'm too weak. And I'm going to be using this old boiler cover on the floor here as the drip tray.
And then what?
Well, now I've got to mark it, drill some holes in it, make some spacers and put it back on there. There you go, drip tray's on there. That was a bit of a palaver because this is such an heavy beast. And I put some little plastic spacers, just 15mm, between the tray and the base of the saw, just to stop it sitting in anything wet. And getting them all lined up was a bit of a shit, but got there in the end. Strange thing is I had to put a longer bolt in this side, just wouldn't quite catch it. All the others went in no problem. But anyway, that's on there now. Now we can get on with the easy bit. Right, so the tray's on. Next bit to do is I'm going to install a metal clad plug socket onto the stand. Put the earth in there first. It'll be easier than trying to do it underneath that. I'll pop the grommet in while it's off as well. Be easier than trying to do it when it's on there. Make a bit of cable through and wire the plug up. Just bought a 25 metre drum of this wire cable from Tool Station. Obviously I don't need 25 metres for this. But I've got a lamppost off my son-in-law for Christmas, which I've got to wire up in the garden, so I need it anyway. Which was handy. I didn't think 15 quid, £15.69 or something it was. I mean, that's quite cheap. Nip them off a bit. Cable tie just helps it stop, helps it not to pull out. Right, this incidentally is for the pump to plug into. I'm going to wire the other end up into the motor. Alright, let's see what we've got going on in here then. It is of course unplugged. Try not to lose that. Right, I have to plug it in. Nothing, let's turn him on. Right, now that it's properly locked off, that's easier. Oh, right, I'm pretty sure it's on them too. Right, there ain't enough room to get the cable through with this one, so I'm going to drill another little hole in it to put my cable through. So I temporarily disconnected the black and grey off of these two terminals just so I've got a bit of room to drill the hole, and there still ain't a lot of room. Alright, let me get a file on that and a bird, clean that up. I've only got these big grommets. I nip one off and hope I can make it fit. Only just about got him through there. That's in with a grommet, so that shouldn't wear. Don't know how well the camera picked that up, but I've earthed it down on this screw that holds this block onto here. Got to be honest with you, that was a little bit of a shit to do. So that's it, the socket's now wired in with the motor. I'm sure most of you aren't, but in case you are wondering, the reason I've done it like this is so that I'm going to plug the coolant pump into that socket so that when it switches itself off, it'll switch the coolant pump off as well. That may or may not be obvious. I even remembered to reconnect these two. I'm getting good. That's the socket wired up. I'm going to be using this as my reservoir for the cutting fluid, and I'm going to put it down on the back here somewhere. So I need to make a little wire cage for it to fix onto the back. This is the smallest metal I can find that I've got laying about. About 13mm by about 7, which is a bit of overkill for what I want to use it for, but I'm going to use it. It was the door shutting mechanism, locking mechanism off a garage door I had, which I saved for future use. So let's see if I can bend up a little cage for that bottle. I need to saw that off. Changed the welding wire on my welder because I decided I'd have a go at gas welding. Got a bit out of control. It was wound very tightly. So there's the cage welded up, and I primed it and give it a spray because I had some green paint. Not the right green, but it's green. But that'll help protect it a little bit when it's on the back of the bandsaw. I should just put that on with a self tapper when it's dry. Now I've got to take the pump out of my old parts washer. So here is the pump out of the parts washer. Not an awful lot of lead on it. I'm going to take this off and see what the fitting is. Oh, that comes up easy. Right, so that's... I shall put that aside for using somewhere else. Or maybe back on this, if I put it back. On the parts washer, I mean. So I need to figure out what thread that is and make a connection for that, because this is just gonna drop in this bottle. I've got to connect that up to a cable and plug it into the plug I made, and then that's just gonna sit in the little basket. Flexible hose to the sprayer on the bandsaw, and then an hose coming back from the drip tray into here. And this is the hose what I'm going to be using, the Ozone Nozzle. This is the one I used a little while ago. It's really made for going on the compressor. You can have compressed air in it. It's got a venturi that drags liquid up from a tank in this. But I'm just going to run the liquid. I've knotted that. I'm just going to knot that. Run the liquid straight up the air hose because it's got a little valve on it. And it's all sort of ready to go to just stick on the bandsaw. So I'm nearly there. Just got to wait for that cage to dry. Screw that on the back of the bandsaw and connect this up to the pump and get a cable on the pump so I can plug it in. Fortunately, the airline fitting that I had on that tube fits straight onto this. Now I've taken the male plug that went into it was a male Euro airline plug on there, but this little fitting with the 8mm tube fits straight on there. This is the bit of tube that I cut off because I didn't realise this was going to fit on here until I'd cut it off of the tube, because I thought I was going to have to put something else on the tube. So I just have to cut this bit off, refix this bit of hose over this 8mm tube the way it was before I cut it off on the airline. Screw that on there and that should be ready to go. Just got to put a plug on it. I just need to drill a little hole here. I just want to put the bottle in so I can see where to drill the drain hole in the drip tray, and then just drill the drain hole. I'm going to go off to the lathe now and make a little something to glue on under here that I can just stick a bit of ordinary hose on to go down into to drain back into the reservoir. Here's my little hose connector I've made. No reason for it to be this size. It's just a bit I had laying about, and a bit of ordinary old hose sticks on that, so that'll just go down into the bottle. And I'm just going to super glue this onto the underneath, because it's not under any pressure or anything. That will stick. There you go, that's stuck on there. But I think I'm going to leave that tonight, let that go off properly. Although it should have already gone off properly, but it's freezing. It really is cold, so I ain't going to bother to put my fire on, it's too late. So I'm going to go down and I'll finish this off tomorrow. I'm too impatient, because I want to know if this pump is going to push this liquid all the way round to the thing. So I'm going to make up some cutting fluid, bash it all in and give it a go. Variable oil made up. Probably made that too much in there. I'll drop the pump in, it's liable to flood out now. Don't be sod. Oh well. Tell you what, I'll empty a bit out so it'll end up all over the floor. Made just as much mess emptying some out. Alright, let's drop the pump in there. Of course, everything's the wrong side of everything. I've put 4 little magnets around the drain hole. Hopefully might catch any swell before it gets back into the reservoir. I've got my magnet in a bag there to try and catch swell, because that's where most of it ends up. And the actual nozzle is just held on with a magnet as well at the moment, which is probably how I'll leave it, so I can move it about. I'll line it up with a blade, turn it on and see what happens. Oh well, the fluid's coming out, that's for sure. There you go, I've got this little valve here, I can slow it down. Don't really want it any quicker than that, but let's give it a woo. Not that much. Alright, let's see how it gets on with that. Going a bit everywhere, and it seems to want to come to this end of the I might have to put something under the front feet of this, try and tip it back a bit. And I really want it tipping that way. It's tipping this way and I want it tipping that way. There you go. Switched off and switch the pump off. Right, other than just putting the feet on saying so it's a bit up in the air and tipping that way instead of that way, which I could have, no I couldn't. I was going to say I could have done it with the plastic feet, but that would have still been the tray would have still been wrong. No, I'll just put a little bit under them and that's all working. Well, I just glued a couple of spacers on the front feet. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see that bit of swarf heading towards the drain hole, so now it does drain off down to there. I forgot there was a couple of holes in the bottom of the or something I need to fill up with a bit of solder or something, but that seems to be working. So that's it, all good. One thing I might have to do is drill a couple of drain holes in this recess, because this just fills up and I don't want it sitting in there. So I might just have to drill a couple of holes in there just so it goes through to the bottom and runs out. Right, well I think that's that for that one. That works. See you in the next one. Bye for now.